Why did over 1 million people almost instantly watch my video about the Mola? I don't know. Were you one of those people? Maybe not. Maybe you're just gonna watch this one and that's fine. But I don't know. I don't understand how you people make decisions. But if you're here for this one, I am now making myself available to answer your dumb fish questions. I received a bunch of them. And I'm gonna do that happily and enthusiastically, starting with this one. Does the weird gelatinous stuff burn? Can we turn it into oil? I like how you think. Now, obviously, like the jelly inside of whales, we were able to turn that into whale oil, which we burned and used it for light. But this stuff inside of Mola is not this way. It's mostly, though I think it has a little bit of lipids in it, it's mostly like elastin and collagen like web holding on to water. So if you dried it out, there just wouldn't be much stuff. It's almost all water, which is part of why they can grow so big. So when we say it's made of collagen, it's not mostly collagen by weight. It's just collagen web that's holding on to lots of water, which is what makes it kind of like a weird gel. Now, if you dried it out, it would burn. Like that's true of anything. Any like living thing, if you dry it out, you can burn it, which is crazy, but it does not have a bunch of chemical energy stored in it the way that fats do, where you can burn them for a long time. That's why you can burn waxes, you can burn oils. And just for clarity, those fats, we don't really turn them into oil. They are oil. Fats are oils. And then there's like a separate thing called oil that's oil from the ground that's different. But all the oils that we eat, those are just naturally occurring oils in organisms. And many of them you can also light. Like you can have an oil lamp made with olive oil. In fact, back in the day, like in Rome, that's a lot of what oil lamps would use is olive oil. And this person says, hey, how do I pre-order a shirt? And I feel like maybe they're just trying to get me to answer that question, but there is a link in the description and there are only 48 hours left as of the upload of this video. So if you're watching it more than 48 hours after, I'm sorry, we've taken them down. And also, future Hank might have an announcement for you because current Hank is planning something and he doesn't know whether or not it's gonna work. Hello, it is future Hank. I'm here wearing my shirt, but also because so many people busted down the doors to buy this shirt and also people wanted one with the alternate slogan, whatever's wrong with me, it's working. I reached out to Pepper Raccoon who did this and I had her do a new one and she did it so fast and it's so good. This one's like a heavyweight thick cotton. That one is more our typical softer, lighter weight cotton. They both look very good. People on the community tab have already found out about the other one. Many people are buying both of them at the same time, but I also have new news just for you that I haven't posted about yet, which is that Pepper also designed a Mola Cola sticker and we're just gonna throw one of those in for free on everybody who gets one of these two shirts, whether you've bought one already or not. That is the thing that former me wanted to do and current me and Pepper Raccoon and the people at DFTBA have managed to pull it off. So thank you to all of those people. But because the pre-order for this shirt ends in just 48 hours, the whole period of time when you can get the new shirt will just be 48 hours. So that's kind of crazy, but I think it'll be worth doing. Maybe we'll keep it up for 72 hours. Look, check, and unless it's been a week. And that's the full report from future Hank. Now let's go back to past Hank. Hey Hank, I'm very curious about the pins in your display case behind you. Can you tell me about them? Sure. Oh. Don't worry about that. So this display case is just the thing you'd buy if you were like a school and you needed a place to hang up flyers that was protected. I need to dust it. And it's a display case full of pins. I get pins from people. I ask people for pins. The first time I did this was back before YouTube existed. I asked for a pin from the person who was working on the Chevy Volt program and they gave it to me. And I don't think that I have it anymore, which is a bummer. But I got a bunch of things. Most of these are gonna be Bizarre Beasts pins. But I've also got others. Like this is a Northrop Grumman James Webb Space Telescope pin. This is a Perseverance pin. This is the Department of Transportation Triskelion, which was given to me by Pete Buttigieg, who is here in this office. There's Artemis pin, there's Healthcare Triage, there's another Perseverance pin. There's Dinosaur Space Program. So yeah, once you get a lot of pins, you need a place to put your pins. Oh, the Bulletin of the Atomic Scientists is in there. I got one of those because I did an event with them. Now we put this back, hopefully correctly. Hobbs Hobbies caught one by accident once they cut the line. That's the right thing to do. You don't want to try and haul one of those things up into the boat. It's not good eating, and it's probably, you know, a bad day for a Mola, but not the worst thing that's going to happen to it in its life. Also, does that gizmo behind him work? This? I don't know. Who knows what we're talking about? But there's like a gizmo here. This is like the most gizmo-y thing of the things behind me. Unless we're talking about that kind of gizmo. But this gizmo here, oh my God, confetti, of course. Is an adding machine that I took apart for a video many years ago that's on Vlogbrothers. And it was really cool, but I did break it, so no, it does not work. Now I'm curious about the Mola slime. Is it like a kind of sunblock? Does it help protect them from jellyfish stings? We're not sure what it's about. Like people touch them and they're slimier than fish, but all fish have some slime. But they do seem to have a ton of slime on the inside of their mouths and digestive system, and that is probably to protect them from jellyfish stings. But that's all I know. We don't know about Mola slime. We don't know that much about our own slime. I mean, we know a lot. We know a lot about the slime that humans produce, but we could know more. A rule of thumb here is that if there's something we know about humans, there's almost definitely an analog that we don't know about pretty much every other animal. So like, there's a lot of unknown stuff. This person asks, is there a whatever's wrong with me, it's working shirt yet? I'd wear that. Well, future Hank may have already told you about it, or not. I don't know. Maybe we didn't get it together. Vanishing Age asks a great question. What do you mean by certain traits being difficult to evolve? I got a little caught on that. So this is a sort of a weird set of thoughts, but I'm going to make a whole video about this. It's almost done. It's almost through scripting, but it is an interesting thought. And the frame for the video is a trait that doesn't confer an advantage is, you can't really say that that's difficult to evolve because it's like there's nothing pushing for it. But what you could imagine is something that confers a really significant advantage, but then doesn't evolve. So as an example, eyes seem like they would be very difficult to evolve, but they confer a very strong advantage, and we see over and over again they evolve. An eye can evolve from like a patch of light-sensitive cells in about 400,000 years. Like a whole ass eye. That's wild. So you'd think that'd be difficult to evolve, but eyesight apparently isn't that difficult to evolve. But there are things that evolve much more rarely or never. Like you could imagine, for example, that like having a fifth arm coming off of your butt would be super useful, but that never happens. Instead, we get prehensile tails. Arm butts, butt arms, not arm butts, butt arms would be very useful. They're a very useful trait, but they are apparently impossible to evolve because they never happen. We only get arms coming off of the same 4 spots. We don't get a 5th one. We don't get a 6th and 7th one. That trait is just too difficult to evolve, even if it would confer an advantage. And we know that at least the one would confer an advantage because there are lots of animals that have 5th limbs. Monkeys have a 5th limb as a tail, elephants have a 5th limb as their nose, but neither of those limbs are arms with like hands that grasp. I mean, is an elephant, it's almost, maybe, actually, I take it back. So maybe it has happened a few times with specialized noses. I'll call it trunk and arm, you know? It doesn't have a hand on it, but it can do a lot of hand stuff. So stuff like that. And this idea will be explored in much more detail in the video that I am making. And it came out of the fact that I made a video called The Hardest Problem Evolution Ever Solved, and it did very well. And that was about the trait of being a vertebrate on land, which was a very hard problem to solve. And in fact, we only solved it once, though plants and fungi and arthropods also solved it. Why pre-orders? Oh, why pre-orders? So that we don't make too many and we don't make too few. We get to print the exact number that people buy. So between when the video launched and 2 days from now, people will order the shirt, and then we will go to the screen printer, which is literally in my neighborhood, and we'll be like, make this many. And then they will make that many. I don't think that this optimizes like the amount of money made, but it is by far the most efficient thing for all parties involved. This person asks, wait, does this mean they eat a lot of plastics? So a thing about organisms that eat jellies is that they will often eat plastics as well, sheets and bags that are in the ocean. They will look like their prey and they will eat them. I haven't found any research that has found that molas eat a lot of plastic or have been harmed by plastic. This would be hard to discover though, because usually mola die and they go to the bottom of the ocean. They don't usually wash up. But I looked, and people, like, we do necropsies. In fact, I believe on this YouTube channel, there's an old video of me commenting on a necropsy of a mola. But anyway, we do that, and I have never read a case report of there being plastic inside of the body of a mola that was found washed up on a beach. But that's not to say that it isn't a problem. I did find a case report of people looking inside of molas and finding microplastics, which is not a surprise, but that's a different thing than like eating a bag and having that clog your digestion and dying immediately. Pandas are also known as stupid and useless, but they are endangered. So is that proof that they are actually stupid and useless? Pandas actually are kind of the reverse mola story. So I'm telling a story of like, everybody says this animal's dumb and useless, but actually it's thriving and successful. But there's like a reverse of that where people love pandas and they're like, what beautiful, majestic, adorable creatures that we should protect, but actually, are they just not particularly well suited to their world? Because they're definitely not thriving, and they are like carnivore bodies living an herbivore lifestyle, which is weird, right? I wouldn't want to comment on this without knowing more, but I do, as I have heard it, understand the argument that like pandas, were they really like long for the world regardless? Is it us really that's doing this? And for clarity, it is. Like pandas would be doing better if there were no humans. But I will 100% say that if we go down, they're coming with us. Like at this point, they are dependent on human flourishing. So we have to continue to go up, or else we will take out the panda along with our decline. I have no doubt. This question. So there was a little Mola species graphic that popped up. Then it seems like they're writing this comment in real time, and they say, let me learn about this strangely small Mola, the slender sunfish, a meter long, meter is its top size, oval-shaped squid predator, and it hunts and chases down squids, which are fast. What is happening with the molas? Yeah, so there's one species in the Mola group. I don't know. I'm not going to look up the taxonomy right now. And they're pretty distantly related. So like the split off from fish happened, and then this one went in one direction, all the others went in another direction. But you look at it and see, yeah, no, that fish ain't right. Like that's a Mola shape. Like it looks like a fish head with fins sticking off of the top and bottom. But look, it works apparently. It's so strange that there's a fast Mola. They go fast. They can move super fast. And they're not really about efficiency. Like they're squid predators. I don't know, man. This is not making any sense to me. So maybe I should do a video on those. As you can maybe see, I do not suffer for a lack of video topics. Tree mentioned in a fish video. Is there a fish that uses tree strat? Look, I thought about this for a while. Are there fish that do tree stuff? Like the main thing about a tree is that it sits in one place and it collects energy from just sitting there and reaching up to the sky. That's not really a thing that any fish do because you don't need to do that. You know, anemones do that. There are animals that have tree strat. But of the fish, the reason I answer this question, I think the Mola Mola might be the number one. I think that they may be the most tree-like fish. Things that are tree-like about them. So they still move around, obviously, but they don't move as fast as a normal fish. So they're slower. That's something. But another tree-like thing, they grow like an interior that they sort of live on top of. That's how trees work. They grow a skeleton on the inside and then they live on top of the skeleton that they grow. That's kind of how molas are. They like fill themselves up with this goo and then their living parts are kind of just bolted on the outside of that, except for the muscles, which do go interior. But then also the biggest tree strat thing that mola do are making tons of seeds, and most of which don't go anywhere. Trees and other plants just make a ton of seeds. And then over the course of their life, most of them will never turn into anything, but some of them will become a new tree. Mola do the same thing. And they do that more than any other fish because they have most eggs of any fish species. Why do you always look stressed out in your thumbnails? I'll give you one guess. You know, I'm not taking it easy. Are these fish edible? Apparently, yes. You could get to the meat. They have muscles, and you can eat the meat, and it's fine. But oftentimes there's a bunch of parasites in them, and that's unappetizing. Basically, is what I've heard. But it's like a huge pain in the butt, and there's just like way better fish that have more meat on them per amount of mass, you know? Wait, what's a fish? You know? Great point. But it's not like I haven't talked about it. If humans used to be fish, do humans still have some of a swim bladder? Yeah. Yeah, man, you're breathing with it. So, I mean, I went into this in the video on vertebrate evolution, but lungs actually evolved way before fish got on land. And then they turned into the swim bladder. So the swim bladder is evolved from a lung. I mean, you could call it a lung, an air gulping thing that allowed freshwater fish to get oxygen when the oxygen was very low in the water. And then the bony fish took that back at the ocean. They evolved that into a swim bladder, which all bony fish, well, not all bony fish have, but the ancestor of all bony fish have. And then as, you know, amphibians and fish things, tiktaalik, started to live some of their lives on land, the swim bladder was the thing that was selectively pressed to become more and more lung-like until it was lungs. Fish have larval stages? I know! I didn't know about this until like maybe 10 years ago. Yeah, fish have larval stages. And this is weird because they don't like go into a cocoon and come out like a different kind of fish. But throughout their lives, some fish look super different. The biggest example being flatfish, like flounder. So flounder have their eyes on one side of their head and they lay down on their side, which is now their bottom. Like they create a bottom out of their side by having one of their eyes migrate to the other side of their head. When they're babies, they don't look like that. They look like normal fish. And then they have a period of time that's like days to weeks long, during which there's this burst in body plan change where their eye migrates to another side of their head. Also, a bunch of other stuff happens. So yeah, fish will have these like, they will develop in it like and grow, and then they'll have these quick bursts of body plan changes where they like have new fins or they have a new shape or their eye moves to the other side of their head. And I will remind you that people don't like to talk about this. We also do this. Like we have a period of time that's relatively quick, that is not like a part of normal development. We're not just growing bigger, where we change shape. Like we have a bunch of new things that happen to our bodies, and it happens fairly quickly. Puberty is metamorphosis. This is a take I believe, and I stand by it. Did you see the one that got exploded by a great white? Yes, of course. If there's a video of a mola I've probably seen it. Doesn't it make them very vulnerable, the fact that they prey on jellyfish? I mean, if climate change kills jellyfish because the water is too cold or too salty or not salty enough, then mola die afterwards? Actually, no. So mola are not super vulnerable to climate change. There are many fish that are, but in part, that's why mola aren't. So in general, what's good for jellyfish is lots of nutrients in the water, because that creates the plankton. More warmth in the water, because that also increases plankton, and fewer fish. So jellyfish take over when fish die off, and they like move into the fish niches. Also, jellies are eaten by fish, so that is another pressure on them. So when there are fewer fish, there are actually more jellies, and that would theoretically be good for mola. I don't know, I haven't asked anybody this. And certain species of jelly are fragile, but most of them are not. They're pretty robust organisms. They can live in lots of salinities. They can live in lots of temperatures. As long as there's plankton blooming, they're happy. Which is why they have existed for the whole time, you know? It's crazy. Jellyfish have been around for a long, since the beginning of animals. And they're still thriving. It is in still some ways the jellyfish's world. Hank, can you talk about oarfish? I've tried to learn about them and can't find much. So oarfish are also jelly eaters. They eat jellyfish and similar animals. And like mola mola, they are big. But unlike mola mola, they stay down there. So they don't come up and down like mola mola do, which is an advantage for the mola because they can warm up and then go back down, whereas the oarfish is just always cold. And so it has to move extremely efficiently, which is why it swims very differently from other fish. In the same way, mola mola swim very differently from other fish. But we actually don't know that much about oarfish. They're harder to study than mola mola because they don't come up at the top. So it's harder to put a satellite tag on them. In fact, I think it's impossible because the satellite tags can't broadcast through all that water. You have to wait until the mola get back to the top, and oarfish don't do that. So much harder to study. We simply know less about them. Very cool fish though. Jellyfish predators that live at depth and get very big. Mola, I think, are better. I don't know why I feel that way. Maybe I can find an expert and talk to them, and then I'll do a whole video on oarfish. And finally, Gorgie the Frog asks, where is Connections? Where is Connections? Before we do Connections, though, again, last chance, 48 hours from upload for you to get the shirt. I promise it's just easier when we do pre-orders. And if you miss out, you miss out. That's no big deal. It's just a shirt. And also, if Future Hank has anything else to say here, you could say it now. Yes, it's true. There is another shirt, and everybody gets a sticker. I don't know. I don't feel like I need to pop in for that. But again, the pre-order, just 48 more hours, possibly 72, because I don't actually know exactly when I'm going to get this video online. Outcast, Salt and Pepper, well, misspellings of hip-hop groups? Of hip-hop duos, specifically? Rough Riders, is it? Blondie, Teddy Bear, Distinguished, Black Sheep, Rough Riders, The Far Side, and Peanuts are comics. Bull Moose, Bloom County, ooh, is that one? Is that a comic? Silver, Misfit, Flecked, Reject, Big Stick. I'm worried that 1, I don't know all the hip-hop duos, and 2, I don't know all of the comics here, which would create a big problem for me. Is Black Sheep one of them? Is Black Sheep a hip-hop duo? Oh, man. Teddy Bear, Blondie, Bull Moose. That was a political party, wasn't it, back in the day? Wasn't there a Bull Moose party? Bloom County. That feels like a comic. It's like living in that space. Outcast with a K, Salt and Peppa, in Peppa. Rough Riders, I feel like RUFF Riders maybe is a thing, but I don't see any others that I know. Flecked, Reject, Silver, Big Stick, Bull Moose. These are things associated with Teddy Roosevelt? What on earth? Okay, what? Do I have a bunch of 3s and I don't have the 4s? Because that's going to be a challenge. The Rough Riders. That feels okay, that's a Teddy Roosevelt thing. That's not a hip-hop duo, right? The Rough Riders I think that's a Teddy Roosevelt thing. Blondie is a kind of dessert treat. And it is a band or a woman who is the leader of a band. No, it's a comic. It's a comic. Blondie is a comic. Great. Good. Winning. I don't know. I hope that the hip hop duo thing is fake so that I don't just make a fool out of myself. But what did we have here? The Far Side, Peanuts, Blondie, and Bloom County, Reject and Misfit. I can't believe I haven't seen this yet. So Bloom County, The Far Side, Peanuts and Blondie, Big Stick, Teddy Bear, Rough Riders, and Bull Moose. I feel good about those. Though Bloom County, I am just guessing. Flecked, Reject, Outcast, Reject, Outcast, Misfit. Okay, great. It's not hip-hop duos. Oh, we've also got what people call it when you have gray hair. That's a dope category. Salt and Pepper, Distinguished, Silver, Flecked. Really? And that leaves us with Reject, Outcast, Misfit, and Black sheep. Gotcha. Okay. I don't know what the purple is, though. Is it this one? Or is it the Teddy Roosevelt thing? I don't know. Those are all equally hard to me. I'm going to go with the Teddy Roosevelt thing. Oh, I don't know. We don't have any, true, standout purple in this situation. I'm going to go with this. Oh my God, that was a green? Okay, I have no idea what the purple is. Teddy bear, Rough Riders, bull moose, and speak softly and carry a big stick. Yeah? Okay, sure. This is a good one. I like it. Okay. Far Side, Bloom County, Peanuts, and Blondie, I guess, is the blue. If you say so. Okay. All right. Well, thanks, everybody.